Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Federico Morero and today we are gonna talk about some wetsuits. Here we are with Alex De Boer. Pleased to meet you.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm really excited to have me in the show. So looking forward to give some inside and outside information
about De Boer wetsuit. He's Alex, and we are here in Milan talking about wetsuits. And afterwards, we'll do a test of the whole range of wetsuits. The first question is. What is that give you the push, and what has given you the idea of starting a business in this industry of wetsuits?
Yeah, we can make this a very long YouTube channel, but I started actually distributing wetsuits in 1995. So in 2025, very soon, is 30 years ago.
Yeah.
My first wetsuit importation at that point was Ironman wetsuits. We've done that for several years. We were at some point the number one wetsuit in Europe, for sure. And the interesting part was that during that period, I also got involved with the design and the details. So started to go to the factories already back in those days. So yeah, that was the thing. I'm originally an engineer, so I'm always been in details about things. And for whatever reason, I started to like the wetsuits. There was a lot of technology in wetsuits. And I learned already back in the days, because with Ironman wetsuits, we also were the number one wetsuit in innovation even.
All right.
Back then, because I always wanted to push the innovation side of it. Mm-hmm. So that's what happened. And I'm still very excited to make people go faster.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main thing in my mind, to make people go faster. And then as a business, of course, I'm also wanted to make it a business. But when the people go faster, it will be a business automatically.
Yeah, for sure. It's fascinating also the technology that's behind a wetsuit, because I'm also a sports scientist, so okay. I'm on the other side of it. But as an athlete, I really look into the technology and all the kind of tech parts of a performance, and so also to the wetsuits, which are a really big part of a athlete's performance in this case. So we can go through a bit about the range of De Boer, what it has been through these years, and how it has developed and evolved.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you asked that, because in 2018 I designed a wetsuit for another brand of mine, which we still own. It's called Dare to Try. And Dare to Try was a wetsuit, and I designed a wetsuit called the Max Speed. And it was the start actually of the De Boer Fjord wetsuits. We still made a couple of improvements, and the cool story is that in that year, end of the year, after actually being in Kona, I sat on the couch of my current partner and one of my best friends. His name is David Winstein. I worked with David in 2001 till 2003 on an Ironman license in the United States. So I actually gathered a lot of experience doing business in the United States, traveling in the United States. And then for whatever reason, we got a little bit disconnected, not 100%, but you know how it is, life goes on.
Yeah.
And then in 2018, I was in Kona with that wetsuit, that Max Speed wetsuit. Mm-hmm. I met Jan Frodeno there. I told him that he should pay me $100 because he didn't race that year, and I put $100 on his name to win the race.
Yeah.
The reason I did that was, to be honest, to get him excited, or at least to remember me. And I knew that we had something special. And after Kona, and after being on the couch again of my partner David, who at that meeting, can't even call it a meeting, it's a friend relationship, situation. I showed him that wetsuit, and he said, "Alex, you cannot make that wetsuit under Dare to Try. It's like if Volkswagen makes a sports car, right?"
Oh, all right.
So he said, why don't we create a new business?
Mm-hmm.
We set it up in the United States. We make a 50-50 partnership. You invest mainly, obviously, your knowledge, your contacts and everything. He invests his knowledge and financials. And we shake hands actually very quickly. And
that's how it started.
That's how it started.
Nice.
So the cool part was that we had Jan Frodeno his attention.
All right.
We were honestly lucky. There's a saying, if you work harder, you get more lucky.
Mm.
So I think we worked hard enough to get lucky. Jan actually was free from a contract with TYR and was able to test several wetsuits, all kind of brands. He tested our wetsuit. In the meantime, we changed it into the Boer wetsuit.
Yes.
Yeah, so quick sample and sending it to Jan in his size. And I still have on an older phone, unfortunately, the picture of Jan saying epic, best wetsuit. And he swam at that time with the Fjord 1.0 around 2 seconds on 100 meters faster than the second fastest wetsuit.
Yes.
And he was very excited. I do remember that he told his partner, business partner, Felix, that he said, "I actually don't care if we can sign a contract.
I want it.
I want it anyway. I'm faster." So,
yeah.
So that's how the Boer started. And from that moment on, our business strategy was to excite the fastest athletes in the world, the best athletes for the product. So what we did, we sent out products to different athletes. Today's world, is Gustav Iden, Christian Blumenfeld, and Knut. Ben was actually one of the first ambassadors as well. And I can say that nobody had a bad review, but everybody had a great feedback. And that's how we actually still have today so many good athletes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even more exciting today because we did, now after 5 years in the business, in October, mostly after the Ironman race, people start to find sponsors.
Yeah.
And we got over 600-700 professional athletes. I'm talking top athletes, requests for sponsoring. So it looks like that we're the number one wetsuit to get as a sponsorship. Of course, there are athletes who send to everybody a request because they just want something for free. But the real pros, they test and then they come back to us.
Yeah. And what about the differences between the Fjord, the Tsunami, and the Swim Skin? Because they are all different, of course, but also there's a development into each of them, because Fjord has been one of the best wetsuits in the world, and now it's into the 4th generation. So there has been some kind of improvement and a lot of technology into them. Yeah. Can you explain a bit about it?
Yes, I can. I need a little bit of help to get the 3.0 from somebody. Yeah. So we have obviously the Fjord 1.0, then we had the Fjord 2.0. Thank you, Gabriella. And then we had and I think I start here because otherwise it will be a very long story.
Yeah.
But the 3.0 has been I call it icebreaker in the market, because thanks to Christian Blumenfeld, Olaf Alexander, and Gustav, but mainly Christian, we worked all together like a 2-day plan in Bergen. I went to the swimming pool with a 2.0. I brought different pieces of neoprene to put under the wetsuits to create the perfect swim position. So that was one of the goals we had, to create a perfect swim position. And it's very important to explain that a perfect swim position comes then to everybody. There are brands in the world, they like to say, if you're not a good swimmer, take this one. If you're a good swimmer, take that one. Sorry, but it's bullshit. Yeah, so it works for everybody, because we tried it obviously afterwards, and you can. I'm compared to the good swimmers. I'm a bad swimmer. Yeah, and I had about the same improvement as the great swimmers.
All right.
So that's one thing I like to say. Then the second thing was, we really we had like a real session. Okay, this is the wetsuit today. What are the benefits and what can we improve? So the benefits are from our wetsuits. We had the whale skin, which was the stripes in the 2.0s.
Yes.
But we wanted to mimic the nature.
Right.
And the nature is obviously a fish scale.
Yeah.
So to start off with, because everybody understands that a fish is not the only reason that the fish is smooth in the water. Is also the
skin.
The skin. It's called like it's almost a jelly.
Yeah.
You know, when oily part. If you sketch it, your hands are dirty. Yeah. But that's what we put in the wetsuit. We mimicked a fish skin.
Yeah. Nice.
And it's not so easy to do that because you need a big investment. Mm-hmm. But we are obviously in a different position than a lot of other brands. A lot of other brands try to sell a wetsuit as cheap as possible, try to sell a lot, and because they sell a lot, they make the money.
Yeah.
Our philosophy is exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
We don't want, it's not per se the word want, but we don't need to sell a lot of wetsuits. We want to sell wetsuits which are the best. And obviously at a higher price point because otherwise the economics doesn't work. Yeah. And the economics is because we are investing a lot of money in molds. In this case, we created a complete new mold. So imagine when you make neoprene, to give a little bit of an insight. I'm not going to say too much because it's on the internet, but it's like making a bread. Mm-hmm. So you put the neoprene in the mold. It kind of
heats up and
it gets harder. Yeah. And then the surface of that material is flat, right? So we already starting the surface with this pattern in it. Then we use that same pattern, so we take the slabs out, it gets sliced in the different thicknesses of the wetsuit, which is maximum 5, and then we press it. Now the little secret is that we have a certain thickness. I'm not going to say which one.
All right.
The competition can find it out if they want to spend so much money on it. But we have a special composition and a special thickness to use to actually compress the neoprene from an X amount of millimeters into a 5 millimeter suit. Yeah. Which is obviously Ironman, ETU, ITU legal.
Yeah. Otherwise it will be
banned.
Yeah.
So that's one. So we reduce drag. The second one, because what we learned is that back in the days we always thought, and we all in the world thought, when it's smooth.
Yeah, I was asking also one.
It's less drag.
Yeah.
But it's the opposite.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
It's actually the opposite. You see it now a lot. You see even airplanes are making I saw an article about an airplane now. The whole outer of the airplane is like a golf ball.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
To reduce drag. Yeah, and of course reduce fuel consumption. So we copy that, and that's actually mainly thanks to Olaf Alexander. Olaf said, so we need to completely switch and make something what is actually proven to be better.
Yeah. Nice.
Then we learned, okay, so if this is smooth or not smooth and it has less drag, then we need to create on the arms panels which are smooth to create more drag.
Yeah.
Correct?
Correct.
So this panel is a little bit dirty, but this is 5 mil. This is a special material with a certain coating. Again, I'm not going to mention too much names and stuff, but certain coating. And what happens is it doesn't absorb water, but what it does, and you really feel it, it's on your arm, so it increases your volume basically in the water, and it really pushes.
Yeah.
And we learned even that we'll prove that it does work for women wetsuits, especially in the smaller sizes. And if you have women from 50 kilos, they actually have a problem. So we changed it. The women find it too much work.
All right.
It was too hard to fight, almost not fight, but push the water, right? They were not strong enough. But for the guys and the little bigger sizes, it works fantastic. And actually you really gain speed. That's number 2.
Yes.
So this fabric is a patent of us. It's called a Duraflex. It's 0.3 millimeters.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And I have a little bit of fingernails, and I can literally do this, and it doesn't break.
Yeah.
The rest of the wetsuit is like any other wetsuit. It is actually sensitive to fingernails and pulling too hard, and so you need to be
a bit cautious.
Very careful. Not a bit cautious, but very careful, especially when the wetsuit is like $1,400, $1,500 US dollars. But this material is super thin, super flexible, and makes you really feel like you're actually wearing
no
sleeves.
restrictions. Yeah.
So the energy use of these three combinations is it creates either you increase your speed, or what athletes do, they keep they lower kind of their pace, meaning swim the same time, but they save energy for the bike and the run.
Yeah.
So more efficient. So that is what happened. So this suit has been used by Christian Blumenfeld and Nicolas Spirik in the Sub 7.
Mm-hmm.
Both had incredible swim times, so that was cool. And then we brought it into market, so to speak. And to be very honest, because I'm the one who designs the wetsuits, and of course, and I like to say that to everybody, I'm not the only one. I'm not just in a little room and think, okay, what am I going to do? Of course, I hear things in the market, or maybe we should do this, maybe we should do that, and everybody has some ideas, and you kind of meld them together.
All right, we had a little interruption, and we were saying about the benefits of
yes,
this
exactly.
wetsuit.
So we talked about the Duraflex material.
Yep.
It's a 0.3 mil neoprene superstar, and gives you that feeling of basically wearing no wetsuit.
Mm-hmm.
So the combination of these three things makes you either swim faster or be more efficient. And you can choose if you want to have more energy left to go bike and run, or you are going for a good swim time.
Yeah.
This is your wetsuit.
But it's an advantage anyway.
It's an advantage, definitely. So after this wetsuit, I literally for almost 2 years, I would say year and a half, I did not really know what to do next on the 4.0. Because it's good. Actually, it's great. There's a lot of other details which make the wetsuit faster. There's some little tricks, for example, in the back is more to put the wetsuit on. There's little, I would say, hook, whatever you call it.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you can do is you can counter close the wetsuit. So you can pull it up like this. You imagine you have it on. You put your thumb in, and then you pull it up. So it's a counterweight. Instead of pulling like this, and then there's a lot of tension on the neoprene.
And risking to break
so all these little things makes the wetsuit even better. It's almost like the luxury parts in the car, right? It's not going to
compromise.
Improve the speed, but it improves the durability, and it improves the joy of using and going out for a swim on your own. You can actually put on your wetsuit yourself.
Yes.
So that's one. So then the 4.0 came. So let me give that to you.
Put it apart.
And so there's a few things we noticed in that wetsuit. One was that people wanted to generally put on a wetsuit more easy. So that's where I kind of started. So I started to do some research in the market to see if the inside of the wetsuit could be changed. So this is we call it silk screen. Sorry about my nose. This is called silk screen. It's super smooth, and we actually created it together with the manufacturer, because it still needs to be compressive on certain parts. For example, around the waist is a different composition than in the top.
Oh, nice.
Because around the waist it needs to be more tight, because you don't want to have water around your belly, so to speak. But here you need to have a little bit more space, because you need to breathe, right? So that's one. The most important part of this wetsuit, we did 11 changes, but the most important one is we call it single seam technology. There's no wetsuit in the world, because it's basically impossible, to make only one seam. So this seam goes over your arm like this, and this whole part is seamless. And the way we did that is we used the 3D technology now, the 3D printers, and we literally made armpits in different sizes. And the pattern, the makers, they wrap and then they cut it around in a special way. It's very interesting. So we are the first wetsuit in the world now with a single seam. And I can tell you, there is definitely a difference between the 3 and the 4.
Nice.
And actually, I find it quite a large difference. Even though I really enjoy the 3 already, which is more than any wetsuit in the world.
Yeah.
But then we have this
There's an
one, and now
improvement.
it's like, I got Daniel Beckengard came to me and he said, Alex, I can't believe it, you did this. Jan Frodeno gave it in Kona. He went to do a photo shoot, and he said, "You fucking nailed it. This is the best I've ever swam."
Really
So
nice.
that is one. Then in combination with this new material inside, which can put the wetsuit on easier, is also more comfort for the customers when, especially we do online. We do give online size recommendations. It's actually, I would say, a must for everybody who wants to order a De Boer wetsuit. You can click on and it's automatic. You get an email, or we get an email from you, and you can fill in your weight, your height, your chest circumference, your bicep, your waist, your hips,
And
upper body length, and your neck. It's very important. The biceps are important because when it's like a bodybuilder type, when I know he has a big bicep, then I need more space here. And sometimes we even ask people for pictures, but that goes privately on email.
All right.
So we don't do that obviously on an open platform. So that was an important one to do. So now we're at the 4.0. During the process of the 3.0 already, we learned that the fish skin is very, very efficient. Yeah, it really reduced quite a little, quite a bit of drag, like 6-7%. We calculated, tested with the test from Santara Tech in the Flume in Tenerife.
Yeah,
with Blumenfeld.
In that pool, which is now really talked about.
It's now the famous pool
in between the athletes.
I think we helped them quite a bit to do some the market their pool. So having that fabric, and actually, if you want, you can feel this is with the stream, and this is against the stream. You can feel it. It's really two directions.
I see.
So to produce, because what you do, you actually create a vacuum in these little holes, and that helps you to get less drag.
Really nice.
So the manufacturer first didn't quite get it, and he just started. The first wetsuit was in different directions. So because they don't like that, because now there's more waste, of course, because it needs to be cut only in that direction. So that was interesting. But during this process, we learned this is faster, and we produce swim skins.
Yes.
Right? We had the 1.0 was like just a smooth, normal surface. And then we actually work with the Italian company.
Yes.
So we are in Italy now, close nearby. It's an Italian company who made this fabric. So when you look at this and this, you see a sort of
a similarity.
A similarity, right? So this is a little bit larger. We are working now already on the this is called 3Dium, 3-dimensional, triathlon, 3-dimensional. It's a patent. We have a deal with the maker that no other swim brand in the world can do this. And we have now a whole line of swim gear on our website, deboerswim.com, also for competition swimming. And we learned with already some tests from a really good friend of ours, Stacy, and her coach, Brenton. They did a test with 8 athletes, 4 male and 4 females. The 4, they did each 5 times 100 with a 10-minute break to really be rested. Then it was, I think, an hour break and then another 5 times 100. And the first 4, 2 male, 2 female, swam in their own brand. Arena, Speedo, whatever, I don't care. And the others started in De Boer, and then we flipped. Everybody, like literally everybody, swam faster. And we talked about the men's jammer, just a jammer,
which is just
and that was about a second to a second and a half on 100 meters difference. And then we have the full suit for the ladies, and that was like 2 seconds, almost 2.5 seconds. On 100 difference with their own swimsuit. So that made us very excited because we got a FINA, it's called FINA, it's
it's a certification.
But now it's World Aquatics certification. And so we are now starting to really get into the market of swimming. we are in contact with some really big names. I'm talking gold medalists, world record holders, 100-meter people who've been testing the suits and the jammers in this case and love this. So we are in the final stage. So maybe the next time we talk, I can announce the names of the swimmers who will be under the Boer and going to help us actually to develop the Tridium number 2 project. So that is what we do at the Boer. The passion is that the whole team, and I can say from my partner David, who is the business mindset of the Boer, let's say the whole helicopter view, where are we going, what's the future, to Daniel Poisson, who is our creative director, who sets the parameters of the designs. He is actually responsible for these designs, like our top end products he's responsible for. Marketing director Jordan Bryden, he is also like super excited to make this. So everybody works a little bit more than 40 hours a week, I would say. I would probably more go to 80. And and then our customer service experience, we do have an online system where all the emails go in one. And I was actually answering this morning some people's emails. Then Nikki takes mainly with Jordan responsibility for that. And now we're outsourcing a lot of things, obviously. So we try to have a smaller group of people. We have partners now in the United States. We have a whole team with Robert to go after the swim market, who's leading that. So we have an interesting future. But our goal is to be the number 1 swim brand in 5 years.
Oh, nice, ambitious, and let's hope it comes to life. And so
we don't hope it. We go for it.
We'll do it. Yeah. Correct. So I would say that we have to just get in the pool and test them. So thanks very much for your time.
Put your clock out and you'll be surprised, I promise.
For sure. Nice. Thanks, Alex, for this chat. I hope.
Thanks. Thank you all for listening and viewing this, and you will see more from the Boer Swim in the future.
Yeah. See you. Goodbye.